Hello again and welcome back to the Rovers Chat YouTube channel. The subject for today's stream, of course, is the League Cup draw. Aside from last year, we haven't had too much success in domestic cups. Obviously, last season it produced what I'd say as two of our biggest moments of the season. In my opinion, the two best moments of the season. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Also love to hear anyone's thoughts on what sort of draw we want in this first round. I mean, I feel like in the first round, you usually want an easy home draw, get ourselves through, give ourselves a chance in the second or third round of pulling a big Premier League side. That's what people want to see. It's obvious you can't really hope for to win any of these competitions, so the least you can get is a big draw and hopefully one we can win. For me, if we can get any sort of slice of what we had last season, I'd be happy. Blackburn are going in as Rovers are going in as number 4. Looking at the other teams on this north side that we could come up against, I think what we'd want to avoid here is a tough Championship away day, slightly like what we had against Norwich last season. Is the sort of thing we're trying to avoid. But yeah, what would we like to see from cup games this season? We've seen that JDT takes these competitions seriously. It's a good chance for fringe players and young players to knock on the door of the first team. We saw it last season with Markandé against Norwich. After that, lots of fans were wanting him to be more in and around the first team. Never came to fruition, unfortunately. I'm hoping this will be a good chance for some young players, the likes of Harry Leonard, maybe Jake Batty, and the new lad as well, Tom Bloxham, to make a name for themselves and get in and around that first team and make a breakthrough. Because we see it every season now with the Rovers youth team. Young players emerge, knocking on the door. 3 or 4 players usually every season. So let's hope for one of those again. But yes, last season, West Ham away, third round or second round maybe. I think it was the third round actually. That was one of the best games of the season, along with the Leicester game, obviously the quarterfinals and the FA Cup. For me, the 2 best moments, as I said, of Rovers' season really show what we can do, compete with the best. The work rate, everything from those games was unbelievable, really. So put some comments in. Let me know what you guys think. What do we want from these games? Would love a chance for the younger lads to get stuck in. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did a recent video where Dan talked to one of the men in our academy, and he gave us a bit of an insight into what goes on, and it's truly a great academy, and the club's ambition with the academy, obviously staying as a Cat 1 academy as well, despite dropping down a league. It's a tough thing to do, and we still have that pull as well. get a lot of young players from the big sides that might not feel like they can push into those sides, and they've seen that we give opportunities to these players. Tom Bloxham's just another example of that. Dylan Markandale was an example of that. So yeah, let's hope to see some of them given a chance. So ideally, who would people want in this first round? What sort of draw are we looking at? Do we want a away match? Do we want a home match? I think the early League Cup is obviously something that people are usually a lot less interested in. No one really becomes interested until we throw a little run together. I think having a crack at the promoted teams to the Prem would be a great chance late on in the competition. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, Leicester and West Ham games last season, they were probably two of the poorer sides in the Premier League, and we really shocked them. Away at Leeds, as I hate them plays, yeah. High risk, high reward with those sort of games. If you win it, it's brilliant. If you don't, they don't let you forget it, do they? I think a lot of fans will be happy to see Leeds back in the Championship because a lot of fans don't like them, do they? But also, we've got to put up with them now, don't we? Just having a check now. Sending the kids for a home tie versus Accrington would be great. Yeah, that would be great. For me, I think getting one of those lower league teams we might not have the chance to visit ever really, and having the chance to do that would be a great experience. So a local away game against a side that we wouldn't usually ever play in the Championship would be a nice draw, wouldn't it? Maybe a game against Bradford at home could be interesting. Maybe, yeah. For progression, it would have to be a lower team at home. Personally, I would take Grimsby or Lincoln or Doncaster away. Yeah, again, I get what you mean. A lower league team would allow us to use more of those young players and really see what they've got. But for me, I think in these first few rounds, we should be using them anyway. Make use of these strong young players we have and see what if they can make a name for themselves this season. I think even players like Ash Phillips, Jake Garrett, who have been in amongst the first team but haven't really staked a claim as of yet, is a good chance for them to really stake their claims for the first team and avoid being sent on loan if we get any more additions to this side. My granddad wants a game away at Salford. It'd be nice to beat Salford, yeah. Do not want to be a part of the Wrexham circus. I agree, but it would also be nice to beat Wrexham, wouldn't it? I mean, Sheffield United enjoyed that one last season. But yeah, I agree. I think that would be a really tough draw as well. Wrexham are really batting above their weight at the moment. Yeah, as I said, for me, I just don't want anything like the away draw against Norwich last season because no one wants to be trekking over there on a midweek. Luckily, fortunately, we won that game, but to do that and not win would be atrocious. There's a lot of interest around Wrexham at the minute too. Home to Wrexham would be good business. Yeah, it would be good business. The annoying thing about Wrexham is when you play Wrexham's everyone's second team now, isn't it? So whenever you play Wrexham, everyone's rooting against you. You know it's going to be on Sky, and the commentators will talk about Wrexham for about 2 hours. But yeah, I think young players is so big for this League Cup, for the League Cup this season and the FA Cup for that matter, because as I said, especially for the likes of Jake Garrett and Ash Phillips, I'd love to see Ash Phillips especially really show what he's capable of. He's so highly rated, and we've seen glimpses, but really, if he's going to live up to the player that everyone expects him to be, he should be in and around the first team this season. Have a look. What other draws do we have on here? The North-South thing for the first round does help to get a reasonable away draw. So you take a lot of these really. Even the Championship sides in the draw, you got Leeds, you got Leicester, but Leeds, Leicester, Middlesbrough, but the rest aren't too strong really when you look at them. So I fancy us in most of these games, and I also fancy us when teams are playing their reserves or their young players for games. I fancy us to have the manpower to beat most of these teams. We've got stronger academies than most of these sides as well. What's everyone's favourite, while we're waiting for the Rovers draw, what's everyone's favourite experiences last season of the Cup? Because, I mean, last season was in terms of the Cup, a great season to support Rovers. Obviously, the disappointment against Sheffield United, don't want to get into that one too much, but overall, you could see the players really wanted it. That game against Leicester was phenomenal, one of the best away atmospheres I've ever seen, and West Ham as well. I could see we really rattled those West Ham fans, and again a really resilient performance. And I don't see why we can't carry that into this season. Andy Lynch, Leicester performance was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. We played them off the park, to be honest with you. I mean, they got their goal with Ian Atcher out of absolutely nowhere. We were all over him. It could have been 4 or 5 in all seriousness. Just having a look at the draw now. I've actually just lost the stream of the draw, so if anyone could let me know what's going on. Yeah, we can't. Yes, you're right, Ben. We can't get Norwich as of yet with the North-South divide. I just meant a similar draw to that sort of thing, going a long way on an away day for a game people aren't too fussed about. Wouldn't be too fun. Blackpool away. Is that for sure? John Entwistle just said Blackpool away. I've lost the stream. Is that confirmed, Blackpool away? Is that Blackpool away confirmed? It is Blackpool away. Is it Blackpool away? No, you just want Blackpool away. I've been fooled. Oh no, I've got the stream back now. No, you're right. That would be a great draw. Bristol City away. No, we don't want it. I think as well we're really starting to bolster this squad, and I can see us having really a full 11, aside from the players that we play in the Championship, that can play in these League Cup games. Well, I'm hoping so anyway, because we're adding new additions thick and fast. We're being linked to players and we're actually getting players, which is a rarity with Rovers over these past few seasons. If anyone watches the under-21s or has seen much of the under-21s, are there any players that we think can make a breakthrough in any of these competitions, stake a name for themselves? Be interesting to find that out as well. I'm aware of a few of the names that are in and amongst the team last season maybe didn't get a shout so much. The Jake Batties, the Harry Leonards, sort of knocked on the door but never quite got a chance. Are there any other youth players that we should watch out for? Let us know in the comments. I think Markanday is another big one. We saw what he did against Norwich and West Ham last season in the Cup. We'd hope that he can produce something like that. It obviously didn't work out, unfortunately, at Aberdeen. I don't know how much game time he got, but I looked here and there and it didn't look like he was getting too much. So hopefully he can come back in the side and be the player that we hoped he would be. Because there's a real player in there, you can tell by the way he holds the ball. He's intelligent. In that Norwich game, I remember he was buying fouls off bigger players and in. A real intelligent player, and one that I think could still have a part to play in this side. So I really hope that he stakes his claim early in the season, doesn't end up going on loan again or whatever. So the south section has been drawn now. So I believe we'll be on to the north section now. Are there any away matches on here that no one's ever gone to that they'd love to go to? For me, there's a few rogue names on here that I wouldn't mind visiting. If not, I think as much as the circus around it, what we're talking about, Wrexham away in the current state that Wrexham are in right now would be a fun one. It would be an interesting one for sure. Bolton just been drawn now. Bolton away, that'd be an interesting one. Bolton Barrow, local one. Predictions then, who do we think we're going to get? We're looking for that number 4 ball, hopefully at home. Mansfield Grimsby. Stoke City pulled at home. Stoke West Brom. That's 2 big sides out, really. Happy with that. Sheffield Wednesday away, that could be a fun one. Trip to Hillsborough. Against Stockport. Hope it's home to Stanley. Yeah, that would be a great one. Or away to Stanley even. I think away to Stanley could even be even more fun. Chance to go to a different stadium. Obviously a packed out away end, short trip down the road. Leeds versus Shrewsbury. Next one drawn. Preston just drawn at home. That would be a biggie. For me, I think we just don't want anywhere where we're going to have to go too far on a midweek and not fill up the away end. We want the away end to be rocking. We want it to be a great result and a game that everyone can get to, really. Still looking for that number 4 ball. What do we think now? Harrogate Town away. That could be a good one. That would be a very interesting one. What players are we looking forward to seeing in these cup games as well? We've mentioned Leonard, Mark and Day. We've seen these games are a good chance for teams, for players to make their Accrington Stanley just drawn at home, to make their name and push in for that first team. Unfortunately, we haven't got Accrington away from home. That one's gone to Bradford. I mean, of course, it can backfire as well. We saw Clinton Mola have a good display against West Ham and then, unfortunately, be handed a start against Burnley a couple of weeks later. We won't talk about that one too much there. Hope to see more of Ash Phillips. Needs to be pushing for the first team. Yeah, absolutely. From what we've heard about him, likes of Spurs, United sniffing around. Even a couple of years ago, they were sniffing around, captaining the under-18 England side. He's obviously a top player. We've seen bits and bobs, but we haven't seen enough yet. So for me, this season, it'd be nice to see him try and stake a claim for that spot alongside Dominic Hyam, really. The emergence of Hayden Carter last season, obviously. Scott Wharton, maybe a bit of a dip in form. It's going to be a three-way battle for that one. We've just been drawn at home. Who are we going to be drawn against? It's going to be Walsall at home. What do we think about that? Walsall at home. Not much to think about that, really. Apart from the fact that it's a home tie against lower league opposition. So you would back us to get through to the next round there. Let us know your thoughts in the comments about that one. A bit disappointing or happy that we've got a home tie? Everyone seemed to want Accrington Stanley. That would have been a great draw. Home to Walsall. That is the draw. Any thoughts on that? I'm not sure there can be too many thoughts on that, apart from I hope we win it. I hope we win it. I hope we see a lot from these young players that we've talked about, from the new signings too. Good one to start a cup run with, yeah, absolutely. I think it was Hartlepool last season. We started well with a 4-0. And then I think it was Bradford, and that gave us a nice little cushion to then get a Premier League side in West Ham. So, yeah, completely agree. It's a good way to start a cup run. And although it's not the be-all and end-all of the season whether we have cup runs, in fact, it has little effect on our actual season. It is a great one for the fans, and it was a great one for us last season. Obviously, missing out on playoffs by so little, the cup competitions for me became that sort of silver lining, and can look back on last season with good memories rather than too much regret. Ash Phillips, Leonard, Mark and Day, Adam Wharton, get in the team for Walsall. Perfect opportunity for them to show their class. Same with Bloxham too. Absolutely agree. For me, I'd love to see Adam Wharton playing week in, week out for the first team, to be honest with you. He's in my opinion, the most talented player in this squad. I think if he plays anything like the level we've seen him play at for a whole season, then we'll really struggle to hold on to him. But we'll also get very good money for him. That's the other side of things. But yeah, great opportunity for these players. Especially Leonard and Markandale, I'd say. But anyway, that's it, guys. Walsall at home is a draw. So let us know what you think on all socials. And I'll see you in another stream. See you later, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.